What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today is going to be another quick diagnosis, just a little help for you guys if you're having the same type issue that I'm having right now and trying to figure things out. My wife's Mercedes GL450, I'm sure you guys, if you follow the channel, have probably seen this car quite a few times. This is a 08. Started misfiring this morning while she was on her way to work, and check engine light started flashing at her. I pulled fault codes out of it and was able to get misfiring PO300, which is a multiple cylinder misfire, and then a PO303 fault code, which is a misfiring of cylinder 3. Now I was able to go in with my scan tool and individually shut off fuel injectors and make sure there was actually that cylinder that was misfiring, and it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up front and we're going to work on diagnosing this issue. So first of all, you need to know what side is, or what cylinder 3 on this engine in order to diagnose it. On this particular car, cylinder 1 is the first cylinder on this side, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 on the passenger side. So cylinder 3 is going to be the third cylinder back on the passenger side of the engine. So what I'm going to start by doing in order to diagnose this is I'm going to pull the ignition coil off, and I'm going to swap the ignition coil from cylinder 3 to probably cylinder 1, and I'm going to go in and see if my fault moves. So I'm going to get this all taken apart, and I'm going to show you guys what's got to come apart in order to get down in there, and then we're going to get our coil swapped over, and we'll see if our misfire moves. All right, so it's pretty straightforward to get in here. We're gonna pull this tube off on the passenger side. It literally just pulls off of both the airbox at the top up here. So this is the top part right here. It pulls off here at the airbox, and then the other end here pulls off from down in here. You just pull them off. There's little like detents on the hoses to hold them in place. You're gonna pull the passenger side, or the driver side one off, and just pull it off of the airbox, but leave it hooked up front up here. And then this intake hose here for your secondary air pump, you're just gonna pull off the airbox. And then in order to get the airbox actually out of here, we have to take this crossbar out, but I'm not taking the crossbar out because I don't need to get it that far apart to do what I gotta do. So as you can see, you can pick the airbox up and actually see the ignition coil. So this is cylinder 1, 2, and 3. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that cylinder 3 ignition coil and swap it with cylinder 1, and then we're gonna see if it the fault moves. So in order to get these off, there's a locking tab here on the back of it. You just pop it back, pick up on the connector, or push down on that tab after you've unplug the locking part of it, and you pull your connector off. So I'm gonna unplug the other one, and then there's a singular, actually there's two T30s here holding these ignition coils down. We're gonna undo these two T30s, take them out, swap the ignition coils, bolt them back down, plug them back in, and we're gonna go check and see if we have a misfire in cylinder 1. And if we do, that will indicate that our ignition coil is bad. If we don't have a fault that's moved to cylinder 1, we're gonna then pull out the spark plug and check it. But let's get these ignition coils swapped over, and we'll see what happens with our fault. All right, so ignore my jump box setup. I got a battery that's got to get done on this car, but anyways, we got our ignition coil swapped over, and what I want to show you guys is there's 2 ways that you can do this. You can either swap ignition coils, clear faults out, go drive it, see what cylinder sets the fault the second time around. If the misfire moved from cylinder 3 to cylinder 1 with your coil swap, then it's your coil. The other way that you can check is with this car, I actually have the ability to pull up the amount of faults that a cylinder has, which in this instance is misfires, and we can see that cylinder 1 has 221 instances of a fault, where cylinder 3 has 0 after we swapped our ignition coil. So this is an indication that our ignition coil is faulty and will need to be replaced. If that fault did not move from cylinder 3 to cylinder 1 with that ignition coil, your next step would be to take the spark plug itself out and swap it over to another cylinder. Now, there are more things that it could be than an ignition coil or a spark plug, but usually what I've experienced with engine misfires just kind of come up out of nowhere. It also just recently got a little bit colder here where I'm at, so sometimes with the temperature change, these things can go bad just out of nowhere. But if you're dealing with an ignition misfire, you're going to swap your ignition coils, and if that doesn't find it, you're going to then swap your spark plugs and see if you can find it that way. And then if you can't find it from that point on, it starts getting the mechanical stuff. But obviously we found it with this, swapped the ignition coil, the fault moved from cylinder 3 to cylinder 1. So we know that it needs an ignition coil. I'm gonna get an ignition coil replaced in this, and we're gonna verify that it's fixed. Other than that, if you guys have any questions about this, please comment down below. Be sure to answer any questions you have. I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you later.